Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Kicking It with Brother Ed, KWBE. Some of you are probably wondering, why is Ed's beautiful daughter back with us again? She was with us in 2022, and here she is once again. Well, I'm going to answer that for you. I have the pleasure of interviewing two amazing men I cannot wait to reintroduce you to. But Dad, or Brother Ed, as many of you know him, he is unfortunately suffering with laryngitis, and I am here to take over once again for this particular session. So, with that in mind, this is part two of an interview my dad, again, Brother Ed, did 2 weeks ago with Truth, Mr. Truth, and Mr. PJ. I'm sure they would prefer I just called them just straight out Truth and PJ. But either way, they are the authors, the creators, the originators, if you will, of Men at the Gate. And so I'm super excited to continue on with this interview because we are going to get to know them even better than the last time we learned a little bit about them. So, Mr. Truth and Mr. PJ, we're going to bring you on and see your wonderful, handsome faces so that we can start this interview. Are you guys ready?
Thank you.
Where they at? Where the people at? No.
Oh boy.
I'm so glad you guys are back with us. Again, everyone knows by now, I wasn't the person that interviewed with you, but I did see your interview. And like I mentioned to you before, prior to this, I was so intrigued by the information that you gave us, your experience, your life experience, how you guys met, what you're doing now for men. I can't wait to get into what you guys are doing now for just the male community as a whole. You're musicians, you're producers, you're organizers, among other things. But I want to know more about what you've accomplished so far. And again, more about Men at the Gate. So either one of you, please just give us everything you have.
Go ahead, Doug. You started.
I was going to say the same thing to you. Well, thank you for having us back, and thank you, Ed, for inviting us back. You may live to regret it, but here we are, and we've grown since 2 weeks ago. Now we're now we're active in our churches, and the Lord called me into the ministry, and I've been pastoring a church that I founded called Grace Community Mission Ministries, and in Rochester, New York area, where we have a church in Rochester, we have a church in Newark, New York, and another coming up in Webster, New York. And so this was my trek, my wife and I forming this church out of a parachurch situation where we saw a need. And that need was that there would be a bridge from my folks, my street folks, because I came from my street folks and church. And I found that a lot of them were walking past churches because they didn't want to go, or maybe they didn't feel welcome, or for whatever reason. And that enabled me to take a look at folks differently, and see what is there a niche we can fill? Is there a hole we can fill that will form a bridge back to God, reconciliation with the Creator, with Jesus Christ? And sure enough, we formed Grace, and so as we were walking on with that, PJ and his wife and others down in Atlanta were doing ministry, music ministry mostly, but music ministry with men as well. And we talk every once in a while. Then COVID came up, and then we talked a lot.
I
and we
bet.
started making plans about. I mean, God was working through us because we didn't really know what the plans were. We just knew we had a desire. We had um, strong feelings about how we relate to each other, men relate to each other, and the world. And so, little by little, we got to where we are. We were in a conversation not long ago, which produced Men at the Gate, and our first conference was in November 12th, and it was honestly a auspicious beginning. I mean, to see the brokenness of the brothers and and the willingness to open up and be
Mhm.
ministered to and to just embrace each other as brothers, was amazing to see from the young, the very young, to older folk, with tears in their eyes and say, "Oh Lord, this has got to be God." And so that's kind of where it started. PJ can take it from there. I've already out talked my time.
Yeah, we, as I think about it, we've kind of always been humanitarians at heart. Um, we, the organization we grew up in was a musical family. We were based here in Atlanta since 1980 or 79. Um, we did humanitarian things, the both of us. We were always helping people, not looking like thinking of us being any greater. It's just something that was there that allows you to do that, to want to um, we all lived together. So I remember we were part of an organization. We had a farm. We had farms in New York and Missouri, and each year they would slaughter cows, so, and send down like 1,000 pounds of meat for us down in Atlanta. We had it in refrigerators and freezers and everything. We would, both of us, me and Doug, we would go around taking it to a lot of our musician friends that were, living together, trying to make it together, as a band, and struggling. We were all struggling like that. Um, and so we just, that kind of just stuck with us, and some, it became more so noticeable to some more probably than ourselves at times, because we just naturally just doing what we was doing stuff. So I'm saying to say is, music has always been uh, a vehicle to do what we kind of did at heart stuff. And when it came to the minute the gate thing, this was just, we were both at different times in our lives now, and we see, you can look at what's going on in the world and stuff, and see that men are important to a lot of issues, black or white or whatever. So, it's not a difference with how we look at it. So, and we're men, we men with families, and we got kids we worry about, and this and that and that. So for us in this time in our life now, just doing music was just not enough anymore. Just trying to get someone to listen to the story you're telling, the words you're singing about was just not enough. And sitting back and kind of waiting to see what the response was. That's like waiting to see how many likes you get. The likes don't equal to nothing. They don't make $1.
Right.
So we had to actually physically now present ourselves as, okay, you may have heard that we've changed. You may have heard that this and that. Now here you go. This is it. This is how we are right now, and we're presenting ourselves now to say that this is what we do. This is what we do now. It don't mean we don't do the stuff, the things that we've been doing over the years, but this is where it's evolved to, and it's very good for us. I mean, well, I think we're very content with it. So we've lived a life of being successful. We lived a successful career and all that, and it's not a had been. We're still living it now, and so and we just go from there. So Men at the Gate is like Doug said, we had our first group gathering, and it was phenomenal. I just met with some people today that we want to take this template and sponsor it to go other places, like come up to New Jersey, come New York. We had called from Minneapolis and things like that. It's a little challenging, because you're talking to men, you're talking to the grown men that really a lot of them don't want to hear sometimes.
Okay, so it's my heart. It's my heart. Wherever I cut the fool, wherever I lived a life that was not pleasing to God, I want to go back there. I want to go back there and show what God can do to someone that they've already recognized. They already know. I had people. It was kind of interesting because we had folks in that crowd that knew us win-win. You know, knew us. We
But
throw up. You know.
I'm actually so glad you said that too, because I didn't want to go too personal, but I wanted to go personal because, again, your last interview was so intriguing, and all I could think was, what was the circumstance, the trial or tribulation, or even the personal tragedy that allowed these men, unlike a lot of men, unfortunately, just in general, to come up with such a great plan to change lives, men's lives like this. I mean, you're not doing something small. This is like huge. And I'm so glad, PJ, you said that you're going to take it on the road, if you will, because to me, this sounds like something that can't just be in Atlanta. It can't just be in New York. It can't just be in New Jersey. It has to be across the country. And then not just nationwide, but international. Like, what was it that really made you say, okay, music is great, like you said, PJ, but because we have that servant's heart that God requires of us, let's do something different that's going to inspire and encourage, or even fill a void that's been missing in our own lives, and we want to put it in someone else's.
I think for me, as I hear you ask that question, is I'm a man that needed to just stand still and deal with truth with myself. Truth that my life, I've been doing exactly what I want all my life. And it wasn't working. You know, it didn't add up to what I envisioned it to be. And I'm not the only one, you know, and this is the more so the way people are. You know, a lot of people go through this and stuff. And you have to stand up and have to take a point that you stand up and you either go this way or go that way. You say yes or no, you cross this line or not, you know. And I think our challenge is more so just stand up as a man. Just be a man. You know, it's okay. It's okay if it's not that we spreading your business on, but it's okay if you know what I used to do. Okay, I used to do that. I've changed, you know, and if that's what it takes to strengthen me to go forward, then that's what we do. You know, and
it's important for us to I like the way you said the truth. It's important for us to let people know it's okay to not be okay. And I couldn't change myself. We're in this culture, this society that says you could pull yourself up by your boots. No, man, you know what? You got to surrender, because honestly, I couldn't change myself. If I could have did it, I probably would have. But I really couldn't. I really needed help from something bigger, someone bigger than me, someone who knew all about me, someone I couldn't lie to, someone I couldn't con. You know, I could say the words, and and in my mind, I got my fingers crossed. I got something I couldn't hide. I can't hide from God. Right. And so here's like, if you will allow Him to change you, you will really be transformed. And that's the message we try to give to all the brothers we know. You know, and back in the day, when I was on I had some good, I had found something. I told my boys, I said, yo, man, this is it. This is the one. So now in this life, I said, this is the one.
That's good. That's good.
And that's what we're doing. We do it in music, but sometimes you just have to come up front and say, look, this is how it is. Because you hear it in the record, look at my life.
That's awesome.
I was blind.
And now I can see.
Amen.
That's awesome. So I love that, because I feel like, again, there are, and of course I'm not pinpointing men, like just to say men have issues. No, not at all. We all do, right? But because you are directing your much needed attention to the male community, and doing it in such a wonderful way. I, of course, I wonder what was it? What was the point from music to Men at the Gate? Did you decide we want to continue to work together? Like, this is my guy. I love this guy. This is the guy I've been doing this life with for a while. But now it's time to transition, and I want him to come along with me. What did it take for you to get to that point where you guys just decided this is what we're going to do as a team?
Well, I mean, a lot of things came together at the same time. We both have sons. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Paul has two sons that are, early 20s now. My son is 21, but I have one 21 and I have one that's 8. Don't even ask. Don't try to do the math. Anyway.
No judgment. No judgment.
The truth of it is, I'm not ashamed of it. The Lord gave me a new life.
Amen.
Okay.
Thank
So
you,
my
Jesus.
first son, I wasn't with for 16 years. You feel me? This one, I'm with. I was there when he came out. Well, I was with there when both of them came out. But I was there when he came out, and I'm still with him, and he's still with me. Okay. Awesome. We have a good family unit. And so he and I, we got girls, and so we constantly talk about how our kids are changing, they're following our footsteps. Sometimes we have to encourage each other that if God took care of us, He's gonna take care of them, because they're doing some of the things that we did, right?
Biblical.
Don't be mad at your kid, because he's off the chain. Remember you, right? She was off the chain. So yes. We start discussing that. Then it keeps going further and further. We see our brothers out there. We got brothers in the Voltage brothers that we lived with for 30 years or more. And we play music with. And we want them to do well. And so all these things kind of converge, and we study the word.
Amen.
The word.
That's
okay?
Good.
And the word tells us, I called you to go out. I called you and make and preach this thing that I preach to you, okay, and help them. Not preach it. PJ said something so cool the other day, because he messes with pastors sometimes, mostly me. So he says, a pastor not only got to preach to his flock, he got to talk to them, and that's deep, because that's what we got to do now. We have to talk and listen to people, and so all of that kind of made. We were in theory, but God was in real. And so God, while we were in theory, God was pulling on BJ, saying, let's make this happen.
Okay.
Now, that's what I saw from my side. And he could tell you, because he lives in Georgia, by the way. Right. I live in New York. So you can hear his side of it.
This event came in November, and we hadn't seen each other before that in like 6 or 7 years. But we talk to each other almost every day.
Wow.
So how, I can't explain when you ask the question, well, how did I know this is the person to do this with? I don't think we picked it. I don't think we have the choice with it and stuff. From the day we kind of met, and from the day we definitely, I came to Georgia to be with the group with them and stuff. It kind of just this was it. There's been other side roads, that we both did and stuff and pursued and things like that. But it happened to come back. It wasn't an issue. It wasn't a thing of, well, what you've been doing this, and we know what we've been doing. We know, we kind of know that, because we still have the same, there's the same inner motivation with this thing. I think he's the only one that I had a lot of friends, but the only one where I feel like he, just as truthfully, he may have heard me say, he don't need me. He don't need me.
Wow.
It's not about needing. It's about just, it is what it is. You take it up with God. Why it's like
right.
That.
Take it up with God. That's the one. Ask my boss. There's some things we can't explain.
Right.
That's right. That's good.
If you saw the last episode, we talked about stuff. We talked about stuff with Ed that we didn't even know we knew. Right.
Wow.
So I was watching Ed Sullivan the same day he was when the Beatles came on, but he was in New Jersey and I was in Rochester, and we didn't know each other. We was little kids. We were making decisions about which way our life was going to go, but we didn't know each other. And I know that means that God had something to do with that. I'm too young to be that cool. You know what I'm saying? We weren't cool like that. You know what I'm saying? It was him.
Yeah.
And so I really appreciate his purpose, God's purpose for us as we know it. I mean, we still don't fully know it. No, I don't think anyone really does. But as you keep walking one step at a time, one day at a time, you find out what he has, you know, he reveals himself to us.
That's beautiful. It's so awesome how God orchestrates our connections, and I never look at it like we're puppets, because some people will say that too, like, oh, you know, God just, he has such a flawless plan. It's just sometimes we're the ones that interrupt it. But I just love how you, Truth, and PJ, you guys are just so well connected. Like I mean, biblically it says, even before I entered my mother's womb, God knew.
Come on now.
He knew. So he already knew that you guys were going to be what I'm going to just call best friends. And it was going to be a lifetime relationship. And it's funny because PJ, you sound like my best friend. Like, he doesn't need me. But for me, I'm like, no, I need you. I need you to be here because God ordained this and you're my sister. So I just love seeing the brotherly love and connection between the two of you. Especially that's needed to be examples to the group that you're.
We don't see that. And honestly, in our culture, go back to that again, we're not taught that it's supposed to be, you know, where you have brotherly love. It usually be me or you, son, you know.
Exactly.
And it's fostered in different society. I mean, what I'm saying is that it's fostered in the Caucasian community, it's fostered in the Black community and Hispanic. You know, it's me against the world, and it's not that. Brothers walking together is better than going alone.
Yes,
you know. And so we can love without lust.
That's right. Now, actually, speaking of brotherly love, one thing that we see very prevalent in the Black community in particular is violence, gun violence. And you guys have a video called Shoot, Don't Shoot. Is that right?
Don't shoot. Don't shoot.
Just don't shoot. Don't shoot. So tell us about that, because we're actually getting closer to, unfortunately, because I really enjoy you guys. You guys are awesome. But as we get closer to the end of this interview, can you share some more about what was the inspiration for that? I mean, I guess we could all guess what the inspiration was, but for you all personally.
Good.
I gotta take the wheel for a little while. I wrote this song. I wrote the lyrics to this song for my younger brother. He was in the street, you know, but he was a cool kid. He was a cool dude. You know, this was back, you know, he had the long ride and died to the stair hair, you know, looked like Goldie, right? Just very nice, you know, cool. But he was living the gangster style. And so I wrote this song for him because of what I didn't want to happen. Right? Guess what? It happens. We're out one night, we split up. Next thing I know, I'm getting a call. Your brother has been shot.
Oh my God.
He doesn't look good. Right? So he passed away.
I'm sorry to hear that.
We wrote the song, we put it together. And this is the weirdest song because unfortunately, it never gets old. Because folks are still killing folks. Our people are still killing our people. Now, this is, you know, let's get real on this. This is not a police killing them. This is us killing us. Yep. We used to do a thing called murder is suicide, because we didn't want to call it genocide, because I want you to realize when you kill your brother, you killing you.
Yes, Lord.
You know? And so we put it out. Didn't make much waves. It's been how many times we've done it?
3. This is the third time.
This is the third time. So it's close to our hearts because we lost so many people that we know and we love. Plainfield. Come on now, Plainfield,
Yeah.
Rochester. These are, it's just
Now,
good, man.
This is the type of song. It was out in England, I guess in the '90s. It was released on label in England. But this is the type of song, like you said, is around forever, unfortunately. Um, and this is one of those things where you really gotta. It's gonna probably be around until people deal with the truth of it. It's just a fact. It's not a makeup thing. It's not a fantasy story. It's a when it starts off with brother, brother, brother. What's happening to me and you? You
mm,
know, thought nothing could come between us. I thought our brotherly love was true type thing. And it wind up coming down. One bullet could end it all. I don't want to see another brother fall. Another mother crying. Why? It sounds like today. It's 2020,
yeah.
and
It's
and this
fun.
and this was actually written over 30 years ago.
Wow.
And so we just felt the inspiration to let's just go in our catalog and we just pulled it out. Let's we do mix it and stuff and things and put it back out, and it's something I'm sure will it's going to be around. It's going to be around for a while, because until it's seen by who it's supposed to be seen by,
Right.
and used for what it's supposed to be used for.
I mean, you know what? This is the one record I hope becomes obsolete.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's the one record I hope becomes obsolete, that we don't need it anymore.
That's right. That's good. That's good.
So
Now,
then,
and this is probably not as important to you as just getting the message out. But from what I understand, it's award winning. This was an award winning video / song. So
the song was, and National Association, help me, y'all. NACA, National Association of Law Enforcement Officers.
oh, okay. I did. Okay.
Law enforcement. What is it? Executive
National Organization of Black Law Enforcement.
Right. But Noble recognized the song, and we're hoping to reunite with them, and in an effort to really stop black on black violence. Because it seems like some other folks are just sitting back and watching it.
Yeah.
And they don't, I'm not going to call no names or point any fingers, but if you think about it, it feels like that in the community. Let it happen, and we'll sort it out later. And these are our children, and I mean, hey, we went crazy.
You can't have sons and every time they go to walk out the door, you worried about them, whether from the police, from whatever. It used to be, from a racial standpoint or from the police, and now, and it has been from your own people. I mean, you have to, something has to give, something has to be done, something has to be believed, something has to change.
Amen.
And if nothing is moving towards making that taking that step to make something happen, then it won't affect you till it comes to your front door.
Right.
And hey, they deliver mail in. They ain't asking no questions. They giving you information. They come to your front door.
That's right. That's right. So. And I hate to even say that it's true even for me. Before I moved here from New Jersey, I had a friend that was killed but anyway, and that's when I got involved. But unfortunately, that's what it takes. But obviously, with the music, this is the conclusion of today's program. But I appreciate you guys. You guys are absolutely amazing, and I hope we can do this.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
Once you come back, man.
But on February the 12th at 2 p.m., we're actually going to do a live interview with Angela, who is an educator and influencer. You don't want to miss this interview. Just like you don't miss our guys, PJ and Truth. They did an amazing job. We can't wait to have them back if they will allow us to steal them away once again. So we love you all. Thank you again for coming and visiting us at KWBE Have a blessed night or day, whenever you're watching.
Grace and peace.